Before we get to the show for today, I want to thank our sponsor, Anchor.fm. As you probably have heard by now, SportsWire has moved to Anchor.fm for its podcast hosting and distribution. It's the easiest way to make a podcast, and let me explain why. Main reason is that it's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer, and then Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on any platform there is. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, anywhere. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership, and it's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So take it from me, Vinny Apicella from the Sports Wire. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are listening to the most electrifying podcast in all of internet radio today. You are listening to the Sports Wire. We're at day 9 in a row, and I want to thank you all for listening. Today is Tuesday, October 29th, 2019, 2 days away from Halloween, 2 days away from WWE's Crown Jewel, live from Saudi Arabia on the WWE Network. And what a great couple of days that it's going to be. A great couple of days it's been for wrestling, and it's not all been positive, but it has been, people have been talking about it. Let me put it that way. So AEW today at noon, they said they were going to have a big announcement. And, you know, with AEW, you never know what it could be. The announcement was that on New Year's Day, January 1st, okay, on January 1st, they're having a show in Jacksonville. They're going home. That's the big news. But see, here's the thing. A couple years ago, it was either last year or a couple years ago, WWE, because of where Christmas Day and New Year's Day fell, they had Monday Night Raw on both holidays instead of pre-taping it and then showing it. There's no outrage for AEW though. Where's the outrage? But it's AEW, so everybody loves it. Like I said, AEW's in their honeymoon period, and they can quote unquote do no wrong, and it's just how it is right now. There are so many marks for AEW because it's the first real alternative to WWE in a long time that's being able to be funded and have the production value of WWE. So I understand it to a point, but yeah, they're making themselves out to be hypocrites. But even Dave Meltzer, Kylie Ray, who was at, I believe it was Double or Nothing, she was part of the 4-way women's match. She was signed to an AEW contract. And then, at some point in August or July, she wanted out. So she asked for her release, and Tony Khan gave her release. And, she was stepping away from the industry, and now she's with Impact. So, Dave Meltzer said, okay, well, we're just going to let her have her privacy. Who knows what it was for whatever reason. But yet this is the same guy who was questioning the legitimacy of Roman Reigns' leukemia because he was off filming the newest, the Hobbs and Shaw movie. So, again, more hypocritical, a bigger hypocrite. Dave Meltzer has always been a hypocrite. He's always been anti-WWE. He's always been anti-Hulk Hogan. I was listening to 83 Weeks, Eric Bischoff's podcast this morning, and they had a match on there, Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio, which was an awesome match. I remember it, and it's fantastic. Two of the greatest performers in history. And it got 4 3/4 stars. And even Conrad Thompson, who's the Eric's co-host, he had to question why it was only 4 3/4, which is still a high mark. Well, the reason why is because it was not New Japan. It was WCW. It wasn't over in the Tokyo Dome. If it was in the Tokyo Dome, it would have been 6 stars. And we know that because Dave Meltzer has a thing for anything Japanese wrestling or anything that's not WWE. Let me put it that way. Jordan Myles is still in the news. His T-shirt has obviously been pulled. WWE put out a statement saying that, he had to he had to approve it, which is true. And he had to approve the shirt, so he did approve it. Apparently, there was some miscommunication, and Jordan Myles actually put a picture out of, an inter-office email from a guy who's obviously works in the creative merchandise department, and saying there was some back and forth and some revision, but Triple H and the Road Dogg both liked it for his character, and then apparently he approved it. He said it was okay, and now all of a sudden he's doing this garbage. And then he throws WWE under the bus. And then he goes ahead and throws Ring of Honor under the bus and says Jay Lethal, who is an African-American, is less black because he's actually towards the top of the card. He's a ROH champion. So, the guy is burning bridges everywhere. And, earlier today, I did, I responded to someone on Twitter, and I said, I hate to say it, and I'm trying not to use the term, but because it might make me sound racist, but he's going to be blacklisted from everywhere. Nobody's going to want to touch him if he causes this many problems and this much chaos. The shirt itself, was it racist? No, because like I said, to make something racist, to have something racist, it, in my opinion, it shows that there was an intent to make it offensive. Okay? This was not intended to be offensive. Was it in poor taste? Sure. I mean, I'll even admit that. It was in poor taste. But the fact is, the guy has a big smile. He's got a toothy smile. So what? That's his gimmick. So if he didn't like the logo at that very point, he should have, instead of going by email or going through a second party or third party, go right up to Vince McMahon, go right up to the creative merchandise team and say, listen, I've got a problem with it. I don't feel comfortable with this as my logo or whatever. And apparently the new news coming out is that they had originally showed him the logo on a white shirt. So, okay, you still had the big red lips and the white lettering that looked toothy, okay? But it was on a white logo. So, just because on the website it showed it on a black t-shirt, now he's saying that it's racist and this and that. So, like I said, I don't think he's all there. I think he's got a couple of screws loose. The shirt itself was not racist, and nor was the logo. It was in poor taste the way they presented it, because you can get it on any color shirt. Apparently, there's people are saying, oh, you can only get it on black or gray, but honestly, you could probably get it on any color t-shirt, or maybe black and gray happened to be the only colors they had in stock at the time when he looked, or whatever the case is. The shirt itself was not racist, and honestly, for people that actually keep pulling the racist card, you got to look in the mirror, because the majority of people that cry racism are the racists themselves, because they see racists and racism in absolutely everything, even when it's not there and it's not intended to be. So you need to kind of know your role and shut your mouth. Now, let me rephrase. Let me back up and say this. I'm not telling people what they should and shouldn't be offended by. That's the level of your intelligence, and that's the level of your maturity. But when you get offended over a t-shirt and a smile and a logo, there's a problem. A big problem. Okay? I don't get offended by much because I've matured and I don't let things bother me. I'm Italian. If someone called me a guinea or something that's Italian derogatory, who cares? I'm big. If someone calls me fat, who cares? I know it. I don't have a problem with these types of things because I have thick skin and I'm not sensitive like that. People are too sensitive nowadays. So, and that's a whole nother issue. Obviously, I did not get to watch Raw tonight, so I will watch it tomorrow on Hulu and give you some kind of report. I heard there was going to be a King's Court that was, Lashley and Lana laid out Rusev. Big surprise there. And then Seth Rollins was going to take on Rowan. But like I said, getting ready for Crown Jewel this coming Thursday. We shall see. I'd also want to kind of talk about the ratings a little bit, and I will. But before that, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to kind of wet my throat a little bit, and we'll be right back here on the Sports Wire. All right, thank you for listening. Again, my name is Vinny Apicella. This is the Sports Wire. I want to thank you for listening and downloading this podcast wherever you may have found your favorite podcast, whether it's Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, Radio Public. I have been trying to get us onto radio.com as well, trying to get us updated on iHeartRadio. And, of course, we are powered through Anchor.fm. And actually, one of the cool things with Anchor.fm is you can actually leave a voice message for the show. So if you want to listen, if you want to ask a question or put a comment in there, I will go ahead and play it on the show. So thank you for your patronage. And you can even help sponsor the show as well. So you could support the show. If you want to send money for content, it's completely up to you. But that option is there. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the ratings. I'm not going to go into exact numbers because I don't have them with me, but there was a tweet earlier that the rank of shows in terms of ratings, number 1 was Raw, number 2 was AEW, number 3 was SmackDown, and number 4 was NXT. And that was simply from a ratings... number 3 was NXT, number 4 was SmackDown. And that was simply from the ratings numbers. But it makes me think, okay? Now, I wonder how it goes. Is it only the first run? And the reason why I say that is because Raw, we know, is Monday nights 8 to 11, okay? 3 hours. But yet, the next day it's on Hulu for an hour-and-a-half version. So are those numbers are obviously not included in the actual ratings. But where are they included? I would love to see that number be added to the actual rating number and see where it falls. AEW has numerous replays throughout the week, and plus they're on demand, whether it's on Sling or wherever, or DVR, wherever your cable system may be. But I know on Sling, I'm able to watch it on demand. Okay, are those numbers included? SmackDown. SmackDown was moved to FS1 for last week only because of the World Series, and they promoted the crap out of it. They tried to get people over there anyways, just by teasing, Hogan and Flair being on there. Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar were going to come face to face, and so on and so forth. So they promoted the hell out of it. And obviously FS1 is not fully integrated in terms of all of the markets where Fox is, and Fox is over the air as well. So you could get that without even having cable. But then, it's like yesterday, it was released to Hulu. And, there are a couple of replays of SmackDown on FS1. And actually, yesterday after football, there was an hour-long presentation of SmackDown on Fox. So, are those numbers taken into account? And then the people that watch NXT on the WWE Network, or is it only first run? Because if you're going to say that Raw, that doesn't have any replays other than the Hulu version, okay, got X amount of people watching compared to AEW that has 3 or 4 replays, and Raw still beat AEW in the ratings, well, that's pretty dang good if everything is taken into account, or if it's just first run. So I would love to know how that that fares, or what criteria goes into the ratings, because that would actually be fun for me to look at and just kind of pick the brain of the person that's there, that's with Nielsen. Maybe I'll make a phone call or email and just see how that's done. But it is what it is. All right, so I just want to thank you all for listening. Again, my name is Vinny Apicella. Follow me on Twitter at VApicella Follow SportsWire on Twitter and Instagram at SportsWire Audio. Also, go ahead and email us, sportswireaudio@gmail.com. And by the way, if you want to send me hate email or whatever, as long as it's tastefully done and no death threats, send me your feedback. sportswireaudio@gmail.com, and then always go ahead and visit www.sportswireaudio.com. Anything else? No, I don't think so. So with that, I want to say thank you for listening. Again, my name is Vinny Apicella. You're listening to the Sports Wire. We'll see you tomorrow.